Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sugarcane Podcast. It's me, Rudy.
And it's Sheldon.
So, Sheldon,
Yep.
when you go to a party and people start asking almost any question, do you automatically have a reason just to talk about crypto?
For the most part, yeah, dude. Like it's either that or my succulent, because my succulent's now thriving. So I just bought it, so it's
A
doing its best life.
succulent?
Yeah, yeah, dude. I'm pretty bad plant bird, so it's one thing I can take care of.
So, for anyone who's not watching and listening, Sheldon has a very beautiful succulent that you must see because he's been
Beautiful,
taking care of it. But it's what
beautiful.
you need water it once a week or something. It's kind of easy to
Once a
take care
month,
of.
even better. Put it right by the window, so it's pretty set.
Just make it easy.
Yeah.
Prove that you have a green thumb.
On a succulent or a cactus.
Hopefully one day we'll have some sugarcane plants at home.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Oh man. So yeah, exactly. That's what happens. So you go to a party, you talk about crypto, move it to succulents, and then it goes back to crypto.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my. I'm a complete nerd, dude. What about
I
you?
know it's impossible to not talk about it. And I always feel bad because everyone's asking me, oh, what do you do? I'm like, well, how much do you know of crypto? I'll tell you how much I do in crypto because it's a level of complexity.
Gauge where they're at, yeah.
And when people glaze over, I'm like, all right, let me just talk about you because
Let me talk about
I don't
succulents.
I don't want to talk about this. It's a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah,
Now after this episode, succulent prices are going to rise up and it's going to be on
yeah,
high demand. Should have gotten some affiliate marketing for this one.
yeah, for sure, for succulents.
But yeah, man, these things are so as I was working again in crypto this week, I was working with different dApps, and we're talking about last week we were talking about MetaMask and
Yeah,
working with Uniswap or different DeFi protocols. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm interacting with these smart contracts, but I don't read it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what a full smart contract is doing or saying. I just trust the company that I'm interacting with, and I trust the community that promotes it or can recommend it. So
yeah,
I definitely need your help to learn a little bit more about what is a smart contract and how does it work?
yeah. So kind of a good simple way to think about it is like a smart contract. It's like a website almost, right? Like if you are going to Amazon.com, right, you don't actually know where the website itself is hosted, but you go to the actual website and you can interact with it and do stuff on it, right? So a smart contract, in a sense, is a separate piece of code that lives on a blockchain, kind of like as you would on the internet, a website, and anyone can actually interact with that smart contract or set of smart contracts to fulfill some purpose, right? In Amazon case, you want to buy books, you buy a book, it gets sent to you. In the case of a smart contract that allows you to lend money and get returned back, you could lend your ether to it, and then over time you can actually send back whatever return back to your smart contract wallet.
Yeah, and do people code this? How does the actual code work? And me, I guess I can code website. I'm
Mhm.
developing it myself, but nowadays you kind of can make a website without even knowing you're making a website, just using Squarespace or using different awesome Web2 products out there.
Yeah.
Smart contracts are human made, so there's possibility for human error in a smart contract, right? It's not you can't. How do you know it's perfect? It's still an odd topic.
I just thought about like a human made, like human made, like almost organic. So it's like an organic smart contract. Nah, but
Organic farm fed.
succulent fed. Nah, like the idea is that like you have people can code these smart contracts, right? Like no, it's really just an open space where you can construct whatever application you can dream of, financial application or otherwise. Like in 2021, people made a lot of NFTs, and those are kind of digital collectible versions of a smart contract or like an actual application. But you can create anything you really want and deploy that onto Ethereum specifically, because Ethereum is like what's called an EVM, or it's Ethereum virtual machine, kind of a technical language, but basically say that it allows you to create more expressive applications that anyone can interact with on a blockchain.
And Ethereum is all open source, right? So
Yeah,
the entire thing is readable. Like you can go on Ethereum's blockchain, download the whole thing, see everything, see every smart contract too, since they live on it.
Yeah, yeah. So like the smart contracts is just like snippets of code that do something, right? And Ethereum, as you said, is completely open source, and by nature of being on Ethereum or any blockchain really, it also is open source. Like the actual code you create is public to be visible, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like you can create a lending platform that you can lend money to and get return from. That you can see actually details of what the code is doing, so you know you're not getting like scammed or phished for money, right? Regularly speaking, like a very general consumer does not actually look at the smart contract code as you wouldn't look at the code behind a website. But the fact that
Mhm.
you actually have the ability to look at it tends to lead to better behavior, and like people are who are producing code that does what it says it does.
Yeah, and it's funny how like I personally trust open source more, just because like all right, it's open source. I don't even read the code. I just trust it because other people have much who are much smarter than me, like yourself, that can read the code and understand what's actually going on. They are saying like, yeah, it's been verified by
Yeah.
other people who've contributed and helped out the project, and also a really good way to like if there was a person trying to like hack whatever code or infiltrate that, it's like available to people to try to access. And since there's so many people who can access it,
Mhm.
they might actually be more contributive to the project as like a white hat hacker rather
Mhm.
than like a black hat hacker. So do people know
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
difference between that? That's a fun like
The white
tidbit.
hat, black hat. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of give it a language. Like black hat basically means that you're hacking something for a malicious purpose. Like you want to hack it to like get money from them. Like people who are black hat hatters, black hat hackers of like government systems. They
Tongue
hack
twister.
them. Yeah, yeah. Tongue twister. You know, they hack government systems to expose whatever details of the government, or they hack banks to basically get access to people's funds. But white hat hackers, the people who actually just hack things or break things for a bounty. Like this, essentially the company is saying, please find some exploit to our system so we can actually do better.
Mhm.
They invite people who are developers to basically expose different bugs in their system so they can actually give them money for to like make their systems more secure. So that's kind of the difference between like white hat versus black hat. And in the crypto space, like the beauty of it is that given the fact that everything is open source and visible, one thing is like security. Like things do get more secure because people are being white hat hackers to basically expose vulnerabilities and help the teams build better systems. Another thing is that you can actually have what's called like interoperability, kind of a technical term, but like you now have people to you can now build on top of other financial systems, right? Like you now have like these Lego blocks of all these different pieces of code that you can now stitch together to do more kind of complex things, right? Like let's say you have a lending platform and you can now create a whole options market on top of that, right? Like where you have
Mhm.
more complex financial experiments or derivatives that are based on some simple product and set of products. You can now do more expressive stuff. So that's the kind of beauty of also smart contracts and blockchain systems.
That's so awesome because as you're saying that, I'm thinking it'd be so cool if some of my favorite apps or like Google or you know Meta or Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, Apple, like if they had their code open source, people can actually go in like, I think this needs an upgrade in this location. I want to contribute for this app, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't do that in private code. But in
Yeah.
public open source code, you can actually contribute and request some feature or actually build the feature out yourself. And that's kind of like what's happening in the crypto space is people are building on top of each other and kind of building this ladder to
Yeah.
to heaven, to crypto
Yeah,
heaven.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, to give you even like a very tangible example, right? Like at Sugarcane, there's about 17 different financial products that exist on the blockchain right now that we've kind of collected together and built under this one application. So now there's like 17 different products that people are building, and there's separate teams that we actually haven't even talked to that we can now integrate their product into our actual application to now give access to different types of financial services across different blockchain networks. And we don't have to even talk to the team itself, or we can actually just take whatever their open source code shows and integrate that and actually build that out. So it's kind of cool way to see that like the actual Sugarcane product is a collection of about 17 to 30 different products underneath.
That's so cool. And it's like
Yeah.
a win-win situation. Like they're building it out because they want people to use it, and
Hmm.
you're using what they built out and making it easier for other people to use.
Yeah.
So Sugarcane's like getting all these smart contracts for like lending and staking and liquidity providing or provisions.
Yeah.
You can do all that without having to even worry about, like, since you can read the open source code, you don't have to even worry about like necessarily not asking for permission. It's permissionless,
Hmm.
so you don't even have to ask for permission. You just use
Yeah, you
it.
know.
That's the cool part. It's like, I'm like, permission, like, you
Yeah.
don't even need permission. You just got to give them credit. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm using this protocol. That's what I'm going to use my basis off of. And
Yeah.
everyone can also verify that we are indeed using their protocol, like Uniswap
Hmm.
or like Rocket Pool or, Aave.
Hmm.
And they know that, okay, I know Aave is legitimate. Sugarcane is using Aave. They made an easier way to use Aave,
Hmm.
and that step looks legitimate too. So that just sounds like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the actual sugarcane product. Also, for people who don't know, Aave is one of the largest lending dApps, which is kind of decentralized application, which is a series of smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain that we actually integrate to enable lending of crypto assets. So that's one product that we actually use pretty popularly, pretty regularly. So the Sugarcane project itself is a network of about 30 to 40 different smart contracts on Ethereum blockchain, a number of different other blockchains that also connects all these different services. And so when it comes to like the actual end consumer application, they see an application, but behind the scenes, there's a number of different smart contracts that talk to all other smart contracts on the Bitcoin or not, on the Ethereum blockchain to make that interaction easier and simpler. All done behind the scenes, but for the consumer, they don't have to actually think about it.
I love what you just explained there is like a ton of information. And
Mhm.
it's so nice that it's all behind the scenes and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
'Cause,
It's like you did all the craziness. I don't think about, dude.
yeah, it's like, I don't, it's a truth though. Like,
Yeah,
not everyone has time to think about everything that's going on. I mean, I want to, and I try my best to, and I speak to as many people who are working on it to
for
make
sure.
my life a little better.
Yeah.
But it is complicated in a technical manner,
Hmm.
and that's why it's so nice to have an open source. It's like it's not just one person or one company taking on the brunt of everything to build something out.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
collective of individuals who are working together to create something for everybody. And
Yeah.
it can always be expanded on. Like if Google disappeared or was going downhill, it's because of the CEO and the teams that are working
Yeah.
there. There's a lot of people working there, but no, I can't just go in and pick up Google and help them or fix it.
For
I
sure.
can't even I can't fork it. You can't take it somewhere else and rebuild on it.
Yeah.
But with crypto, you can. You can
Yeah.
actually help out projects that are suffering or don't know something, and you can guide them in a certain direction if you wanted to. And a lot of them are open for that. That's what they want from the
Yeah.
communities too. Community literally makes a crypto project thrive. And for Sugarcane, like I know we were talking about smart contracts interacting with smart contracts last
Hmm.
episode. With Sugarcane, I won't have to necessarily interact or approve all these different protocols that I'm using, right? I can just log on to Sugarcane and that handles everything for me in terms of connecting to different protocols, approving transactions, all that fun
Yeah.
jazz from episode 2.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. And also, even like, what's one thing we didn't talk about yet, at least, is about gas. Like, gas is the kind of way in which it's kind of like a tax, right? The way in which you actually create a transaction on any blockchain is you pay a certain amount of gas or tax to do that. And that can get pretty prohibitively expensive when you start talking about interacting with smart contracts on Ethereum, for example, just because like Ethereum itself is a pretty valuable asset and like, it goes through like boom and bust cycles and it gets pretty pricey to do things. But like that's also something we're abstracting away or like we're kind of hiding from the consumer. So like if you're interacting with any blockchain through the Sugarcane application, it's all free. So it's like it's completely no cost. So like it makes it very easy for you to actually interact with any financial service that's whatever you're going to do there. It's also free for you to do that. That makes
I love
sense.
that. It's free. It's perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's all I wanted.
That's all I want. Free things. Free
Thank
things in
you.
a succulent.
I don't know why, but free food tastes better. Free interactions taste better. It's just like, might as well just do that. It's great.
Yeah.
uh, that's the
Yeah,
beauty of open source. That's the beauty of the crypto space. You can
for sure.
do things like that because you can interact with whatever and implement however you want. Creativity is the limit.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is, I guess, do you feel like crypto could be where it's at today if it wasn't for such openness?
I think to phrase the question a bit differently, um, it's more of like, why does openness matter versus like existing systems? Like if you think about the internet as it stands today, right? Like it's pretty simple to use, but there's a lot of trade-offs when it comes to that. Like you actually don't know where your information is flowing to. A lot of people who have access to your information that you actually don't approve of. You're trusting kind of centralized entities that do things on your behalf to make the experience simpler. But at the end of the day, they can always do shady stuff with your money, or like if you're depending on certain financial institutions, they can block you from certain activities that you want to get access to. Is the reason for crypto being relevant and necessary is for the fact that like there is no central person there, and all the code itself is auditable, so it's completely visible to see what's happening to your funds or information as it's flowing through the system. And if you may not be technical enough to like understand and look at it specifically, there are people who are also technical who is also in their best interest to actually just look at it themselves. So you would find out from someone eventually that something is sketchy. So I think the beauty of it is that like the fact that it is open makes it easy for people to sound the alarm if there's something going on that's malicious.
Exactly. And if you're building
Yeah.
your company based off a protocol, such as Aave or other protocols, you yourself want to make sure you're using something that's good and legitimate. You don't want to hurt your own company or your own reputation without first double checking what you're using. So like if you're going to use some tool at home, like you want to make sure
Mhm.
that tool is good. Like you're going to do your research, make sure it's
Yeah.
reliable before you use it for yourself and before you tell all your friends what you just used.
Yeah. If you look like back in like 2008, I want to say 2009, when like Facebook, for example, had a huge like open API for anyone to use. Like companies like Zynga started popping up where they created like really kind of expressive games that people can actually use in a social context. But eventually, Facebook shut off their API. So now companies whose whole life depended on like getting access to this open API from Facebook disappeared overnight. Right? Zynga kind of crashed after the fact
Wow.
that Facebook closed their API. And so, with crypto systems that are open and accessible to anyone, it makes it virtually impossible for you to get like deplatformed or de-apped, de-API'd, just because all the information is public and open and it's immutable, so it can't be changed. And so now you can actually have the assurance that you're building on kind of sound foundations. That's also another kind of positive of like this kind of open source, immutable context of crypto.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like
Yeah,
that makes so much sense because it needs to stay open.
for sure.
Its core has to always be open forever, just so we don't have that fear of shutting down. And everyone that's building on that Ethereum network can always work together to make sure Ethereum stays alive because it's in everyone's best interest to support each other in this
Yeah,
instance.
there's no concept of decentralization. Everyone's running nodes and supporting each other.
Oh man, we have so much more to go, and like it's already been what 19 minutes, and it's like we have a lot more episodes to go, and I can't wait for it, man. So
That's the
to
fun
sum
part,
this
man.
one up, it's all yeah. To sum this part, it's like smart contracts, open source. Are they safe to use? Yeah, if the person that is checking them is, there's people in the community that are checking these contracts to make sure they are usable, safe, and secure for
Yeah,
the use of the public because it's in everyone's best interest. It's like we have to have a whole episode on game theory too, because that's where this all lives off of is everyone winning together and growing together and lifting each other up rather than pushing each other down. So thank you for lifting us up, Sheldon.
appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you looking at my succulent, my immaculate succulent.
That's lifting you up. That's our
Yeah,
open source savior right there.
yeah, for sure.
All right, man. See you next week, everyone. And again, if you have any questions, let us know.
All good. See you.